Hi, fellow PolyTrippers. I hope you had a productive week, and here's my motivational talk for this coming week. This week is part two of the thing that I started last time, which is basically how to speak something to someone when the other person might not want it. And this week, that person is going to be you. If you've ever gone and visited a foreign country and wanted to speak the language there, you might have run into the situation where people realize that you're a native English speaker and they suddenly switch to English with you. And this was like super annoying for me. I was really, this is like one of the things that really got me upset in the beginning, like actually really upset, because it's like I took all this time, I spent all this effort to learn the language and everything like that. I came here to honor you, and then here you're just speaking English to me. Like you're basically giving me the message that my English, my French or Spanish or whatever, like Dutch, Swedish isn't. I've never been to Sweden. That my whatever is not good enough, and that also like you're making it so that it's more difficult for me to integrate into this society. That was the thing that really hurt me. Like you're making it more difficult for me to integrate into the society, which I really badly want to do, by depriving me of the opportunity to speak the language which I've worked so hard to learn. So that was like a really big source of hurt for me. I realized that after a while that most people aren't doing it intentionally. Most people aren't malicious about it when they do it. They just basically, the reality is that most people don't have the ability to travel and go to another country. A lot of people don't do that. So a lot of times that people would speak with me either had only been to the US once, or they had never been to the U.S. And also the reality of things is that English is a lot more important language than it's a very important language. I'm not going to say more important, but it's a very important language. It's much more important that other people know English than it is that I know Swedish, for example, or Dutch, for example. So a lot of those reasons for wanting to practice with you are valid, but basically I find that when somebody just start speaking the language with you, it shows a lack of respect similar to the lack of respect that can be unintentional when you start speaking a language to someone here, like in Spanish, without actually having gotten the confirmation that those people want to speak that language with you. And so I have a number of tactics to deal with that. And this is something that started in my 20s, so some of them are less nice than others. But, but basically, I think the main trick when that happens is if you don't want to just stop the whole conversation and just have like a heart-to-heart talk with them about why it's important that you speak in their language, the first thing that I would advise you to do is just continue speaking in the language that you're speaking in. So if you're in Holland, for example, you're trying to speak Dutch, they switch to English with you, keep on speaking Dutch, okay? You may not, if they see that, basically then it's a question of how empathetic the other person is. If the other person is not empathetic, then they'll just want to continue just imposing their way on you, and they'll continue to speak Dutch, and then you have to decide whether you want to escalate the battle or not. That's a whole different consideration. But a lot of times just continuing to speak in the target language is enough to make the person kind of see what your preferences and switch back to the language that you're trying to speak with them. The second piece of advice that I'd when I was younger, I would basically like I'd be kind of mean about it sometimes. I'd pretend like I didn't understand them even though I did. I don't advise that now. I was kind of young and immature, so don't do that. But that's one of the things I did. And then finally, the last thing I do, if I really want to just stop the conversation, is if I'm not feeling like weak at that moment and just reverting to English or whatever just because I'm just too lazy to fight them, then I will say, it's really important for me to speak this language. Is it okay if we speak Dutch? Because that's what I'm here for. Just be honest. I've gotten really good at that now, and I get to the point where, like, for example, with Spanish, Italian, French, you don't have a lot of people in those countries that are going to want to switch to English with you, I find. And so basically those countries are really nice for learning the language. With Dutch and Swedish, they suck. I'm sorry. There's no way to sugarcoat that. They always want to speak English with you, and now my Dutch is better than most Dutch people's English, and so that doesn't happen to me. But I also have a Dutch wife. But with Swedish, basically, with very few exceptions, I get the feeling that they will either humor you with a few words and then switch back to English, or else they just won't even bother with the switch and the switch to English because they feel like they have the God-given right to speak English with everyone, and that people don't have that same right to speak Swedish to them. I'm sorry, Swedish people, but it's I'm right. So anyway, yeah, just apply those principles and stick up for yourself. You need to stick up for yourself. I remember, because I've got a black belt now in sticking up for myself when it comes to these linguistic exchanges. Unless I'm feeling charitable. If you're feeling charitable at that moment, and if you find it okay to speak English, by all means speak English. I'm not saying pick a fight or stick up for yourself in all occasions, but basically when I want to stick up for myself, I've gotten really really good at it. And I remember once I went to Italy and I was speaking Italian with them. I think this one person tried a couple of sentences in English, but then when I just kept on sticking with Italian, they just gave up. And then this one American girl came in, and they instantly all started speaking English with her. And I could just feel the disappointment, because I consider myself an empathetic person. I could just feel the disappointment. And I actually went up to her afterwards and I said, stick up for yourself. Don't give up. Just stick up for yourself. You have, and she was actually living there, on a more long-term basis, so it was really important for her to learn the language. So you have to stick up for yourself, and be honest with the people if it comes to that, or else just keep on talking the language. Anyway, I'll stop at that. That's it for this week. Check out our resources page at polytripper.com, where we have a number of games and resources to take your language learning to the next level. And also join us for our Saturday Facebook Lives at facebook.com/polytripper, where language learners can come together and feel less alone in their language learning journey. And finally, if you like us, please spread the word. We don't have the deep advertising pockets that our competitors do, so we rely on good souls like you to spread the word so we can keep our advertising costs down, take less in commissions from our teachers, and let them keep more of their money. So thank you for playing your part, and I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye.